You've seen it on popular TV shows in Miami, LA, and New York. But this is the Scientific Investigations Division in San Bernardino.
We analyze physical evidence. We go out and collect it in the field on occasion, but a lot of our evidence is submitted by deputies and police officers from throughout San Bernardino County.
From a firearms unit,
right now I'm looking at the primer area, looking at these striations,
to an actual DNA lab.
So this is our extraction room. The hoods are where each analyst works.
Crime scene investigations that lead to the identification of suspects in hundreds of cases.
Arson accelerants, shoe prints, tire tracks, glass, paint, hair, those kind of items. We have a controlled substances unit that does all of our narcotics identification. People that are arrested for possession of cocaine or methamphetamine or heroin or marijuana. We have a blood alcohol unit and breath alcohol unit. They do the alcohol testing for driving under the influence of alcohol cases. We have a firearms unit that looks at firearms and tool mark evidence, looks at bullets, cartridge cases, does functional testing of weapons. And then a forensic biology unit, which screens items of evidence for probative biological evidence and then actually performs DNA typing on those items.
The department is busy, taking on an average of 8,000 controlled substance and narcotics cases, 14 to 15,000 alcohol cases in its blood and breath testing program, and hundreds of trace cases every year. Examination of tire tracks or shoe prints for evidence. The number of DNA cases has also dramatically increased over the past few years. In 2009, the department took on 87 cases. In 2010, 240 cases. This year, they expected to take on more than 400, with an increase in trained staff members and upgraded equipment.
It's not ready for casework yet. We're still signing off on all of the validation paperwork. But hopefully in the next month or two, we'll be ready to go with this instrument.
While Riverside County doesn't have its own crime lab, law enforcement agencies also have an option to turn to the California Department of Justice Bureau of Forensic Services Regional Laboratory in Riverside for their evidence needs. But it just depends on who can get it done faster. The two counties also share a fingerprint database, the Riverside San Bernardino California Identification System, managed by the Department of Justice. But in San Bernardino, when a piece of evidence is brought in, criminalists start out with the stain preservation process, looking for any blood or semen residue. Then it is ready for DNA analysis.
We need to get the DNA out of the cells and off the substrate. So we use heat and chemicals and tiny little tubes to release the DNA from the cells and have it present in a liquid.
The science is all that matters.
We're scientists, and our main job is to work for the evidence. We don't associate with any side. We really, at the end of the day, I don't care if the person's guilty or not. What I care about is that I have represented the evidence to the best of my abilities.
Their most notable recent cases, identification of suspects in the shooting of a Riverside police officer, Ryan Bonaminio.
The assistance of the San Bernardino Crime Lab, which also was key in solving the Bonaminio case.
And the sexual assault and kidnapping of a 9-year-old Riverside girl.
Sometimes it works out that we identify a suspect, other times we get into a situation where we perform the analysis and it actually exonerates the person they have in custody. Either one is fine by us. In these two cases, it was nice to be able to provide the results in a timely manner to the requesting agency.
Jennifer MIXON was the criminalist in charge of looking for fingerprints in the semi-truck police say was used by the suspect in the Bonaminio case.
It was here the morning that I arrived, and being a large semi-truck, it was kind of out of the ordinary for us to have on the premises.
It was a case that moved unusually quickly.
We were guessing, where would someone touch if they entered this vehicle? Would they touch, this handlebar? Would they go in through a window? Would they press their hands against a window while they were looking up? So we have to place ourselves in the situation and run through things which may have possibly happened.
Within the first day, prints were found on a piece of electrical tape found in the ignition.
Tape is one of the harder samples to deal with. It's, it's sticky, so it's stuck together. Fingerprints is the fastest way to make an identification.
And criminalist AUDREY Delgado worked 12 to 13-hour days when she was assigned to analyze evidence in the case of a 9-year-old girl who was kidnapped and sexually assaulted in Riverside. Though she couldn't disclose what type of evidence she had to work with, she knew the case had to be a top priority.
Other than it being very important and this needs to be done, was my only thought about the case.
And this crime lab isn't immune to what they call the CSI effect.
The public has certain expectations of a forensic science laboratory. Unfortunately, it makes good TV, but it's not very realistic. They'll do DNA in 10 minutes on the TV show. Just to do the analytical work and come up with the results and generate a report may take 2 weeks.
But the shows have in turn created new interest in a field no one knew much about.
The quality of the applicants that we're getting for the jobs here are much better. So I like to tell people, if I were trying to get into the job market now, I might have problems. But 30 years ago, there weren't a lot of people who knew what a criminalist was.
In San Bernardino, Julianne Nunn, The Press Enterprise.